Today, we're diving into the story of a man's search for wisdom. It's this timeless quest to find a kind of truth that can't be taught, something that can only be experienced.
Okay, so let's start with this quote right here. We're meeting Siddhartha, a man who on the surface seemed to have everything. He was the brilliant son of a Brahmin, admired by all, and destined for greatness. But this quote, it just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? It reveals this deep, painful paradox at the very heart of his existence.
Right, so here's the setup. As the son of a high priest, a Brahmin, Siddhartha was handsome, incredibly smart, and everyone looked up to him. He mastered every single teaching that was put in front of him. He was literally the poster child for success in his world.
I mean, think about it. He was the perfect son. He was so intelligent, always thirsty for more knowledge. He was a master of contemplation and meditation. He knew all the holy verses, all the rituals. His family and friends absolutely adored him. He was on the fast track to becoming a great priest, or maybe even a prince. But, and this is the big but, despite this seemingly perfect life, a profound emptiness just started to grow inside him.
And this was his core problem. He started to suspect that all the wisdom from books and teachers, no matter how wise they were, just wasn't enough. He began to believe that true knowledge had to be lived, that it had to be experienced directly. The answers he was looking for weren't out there somewhere. They had to be found deep within himself.
So this leads him to a pretty radical decision. He decides he's going to leave his home, his family, everything, and join the Samanas. Now these guys were wandering ascetics who sought enlightenment through extreme, and I mean extreme self-denial.
For 3 years, he masters their ways, fasting, meditation, denying the body, but he realizes it's just a temporary escape from the self, not a real answer. So then, he seeks out the famous Gautama, the Buddha, whose teachings offered a very clear, logical path to salvation.
And while he deeply admired the Buddha's incredible sense of peace, he realized that just accepting someone else's doctrine wasn't his path either. He came to believe that the actual experience of enlightenment, the core secret, simply cannot be passed on through words.
And this was his great realization. No teacher, no matter how holy, could give him what he was looking for. The most profound truths, he concluded, must be discovered, not taught. He had to become his own teacher.
So, having rejected the teachers of the spirit, Siddhartha decides he's got to learn from a totally different master now, the world itself. To understand his own nature, he figures he has to stop running from it and instead plunge directly into the material world he had looked down on for so long. He sets out to experience everything he had once denied himself. He was going to learn the art of love from a courtesan named Kamala, and the art of business from a merchant, Kamaswami. He was absolutely determined to finally understand life, not by escaping it, but by living it from the inside out.
And for a long time, he treated it all like a performance. He played the part of a rich man and a lover, but he never really belonged. He kept that sense of detachment he'd learned as a Samana.
But slowly, over many, many years, the world he was just observing began to consume him. The game stopped being a game.
He became trapped in what he called samsara, and this wasn't some philosophical concept anymore. This was his daily reality. It was this meaningless cycle of earning and spending, pleasure and boredom, and it just left him feeling completely empty.
That inner ascetic that was inside him just slowly died. It was replaced by all the anxieties and emptiness of a rich man. He became weary, loveless, and obsessed with property, the very things he once scorned. His soul literally got sick. This powerful dream becomes a terrifying wake-up call for him. That golden cage was his wealth, and the dead bird, well, that was his spirit. He realized his spiritual life was completely gone, imprisoned and killed by his own material success. So, filled with this absolute nausea and despair, Siddhartha just walks away from his life. He leaves his wealth, his city, everything. He just wanders, until he comes to a familiar river, the same one he'd crossed years and years before.
He's at his lowest point. He saw only one escape. He believed his entire journey had been a huge mistake, a complete failure, and he prepared to end his own life.
But just as he is about to let go, a sound from deep within his soul awakens him. Om. It's that sacred word for perfection, for the unity of all things. In that single moment, hearing that one syllable, he remembered the divine self he had forgotten, and he recognized the complete folly of his despair.
This moment of profound awakening saves him. It's like this deep, healing sleep just cleanses him of all the misery and self-hatred that had defined his life for years. He wakes up refreshed and renewed, like a new Siddhartha.
And he finally understood. Every mistake, every sin, all of his suffering, they weren't failures. They were necessary steps on his unique path to wisdom. He had to become a fool to find the self again.
It's this amazing paradox, isn't it? The man who had everything, riches and pleasure, also had nausea and despair. But the man who now has nothing, he has no possessions, no teacher, but he has peace. He has a genuine love for the world. By losing everything the world values, he regained the one thing that truly mattered, his true self.
Ultimately, his journey shows us a profound truth. Wisdom isn't some straight, clean path up to perfection. It's the complete acceptance of your whole imperfect life, the good, the bad, and everything in between. And that leaves us with a really powerful question, doesn't it? It challenges us to look at our own lives not as a series of errors that we need to correct, but as the necessary, unique journey that we have to take to find our own truth.